podcast
for hunting and Halloween fanatics.
If you want to communicate with people around the world, here, use my crystal ball.
Podcast Bone Phone.
Patching into my bone phone via his crystal ball is the master of the dark arts, magician Christopher Handa, author of Talismans and Thaumaturgy. Easy for me to say. Chris.
Hello.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
You mainly apply your craft to entertain the mortals at Castle Blood in Monessen, Pennsylvania, correct?
That is correct. That's been the majority of my work as a magician for at least the past 10 years.
How did you get your start there?
I started as a mortal, coming through the line, and it was the first place I went where even from the first room, it had a magic effect, and then it carried into the second room, and then even the third room, and then we got to other rooms later on, and they were doing magic tricks that I was used to seeing other performers do, but they were doing it in character and in costume, and it all related to the script. And I was amazed. I was amazed. This wasn't just walking by a head on a sword or seeing somebody impaled or sawed or something like that. This was actually in relation to what the actors were doing. So you weren't dabbling in magic prior to Castle Blood? You were introduced to it through Castle Blood? Oh, no. I've been into magic for years and years. It was just the first time I saw magic at a haunted attraction as I knew what magic was. I've been doing magic since I was probably in second grade. Okay, got it. So it was just you seeing it being put, being used in a different type of setting, not your typical, stage and audience. It was, this whole haunted house with individual characters, each using magic, and you just hadn't seen it in that setting. Correct. It was the first time I had seen that. Yeah, which is very different. Are there other haunted attractions out there that do something similar? Well, ironically, at the time, there was a haunt also in Pittsburgh, the Haunted Chamber, which was run by Rick and Tammy Ma, and it was about a half an hour tour, but it was all magic. It was mentalism effects. It was all kinds of different psychological things revolving around a sorceress and basically her minions that were helping her. And it happening at the same time as I was learning about Castle Blood. There was another gentleman up in Portland, Oregon that was doing something with a haunted theater theme, who at about the same time he and I had started talking as well. So there were others out there. So Castle Blood wasn't the originator of using magic in their haunted attraction. You were one of a few. What is it? Just something out there in Western Pennsylvania that there just happened to be quite a bit of magic incorporated into the shows? I don't know. The Western Pennsylvania is a hotbed for haunted attractions. We were one of the areas that had a lot of JC's groups and March of Dimes and things like that doing charity haunts for years. And I have several magician friends over the years who have worked attractions or built an illusion for one scene or something like that. Most of them have performed, though. They were performers in front of the attraction or did a stage show that was adjacent to the attraction. But the Haunted Chamber was different and Castle Blood was different because they actually used magic in the attraction as a part of everything, as opposed to, hey, we have a dark magician up front, or we have a sideshow, or we have a stage show going on every hour. Yeah, those were the things I was used to seeing. Yeah. One of the JCs that was in the area that I had visited a couple of times up here in Massachusetts, I think it was in Foxborough. They used to do
they would do where you would come in and they would get a group together, and then you would enter and you would have a guide who would lead you through and go through different rooms. In each room, there would, you would stop, and then there would be something would happen. There would be a little show, or there'd be some storyline that was laid out before you, and you'd get like a piece of a story, and then you'd kind of make your way through, which I really dig. I don't see that much. I see it every once in a while. I mean, it was like when I was out in, I was in New York, we went to, it was like the Headless Horseman haunt, and then we went to like hit some other haunt after that. And they were doing that type of, they had that kind of setup where you'd kind of go through. I kind of like it. You don't see it a lot. Once again, I don't get a chance to travel the entire country, but it is cool to see it. And it's nice to just have something different than, going through in a conga line and having a bunch of boo scares, having just the startle effects, having something that just breaks you out of that standard kind of haunt setup, which is cool that you guys kind of have that, you do that,
Well, I think the biggest difference between the haunts of then and the haunts now is that the JC's haunts were actor-driven. There weren't a lot of things that were eye candy. The animatronics didn't exist the way that they do now. So, what do? You have to fill that with stuff. You have to fill it with shtick if you don't have stuff. Yeah. So it's, that's I think that's where the storylines became important for those haunts. And there are still a few that are doing a more intense, more immersive storyline. And then there are a few that have just totally turned that into the thing. Is, okay, we're going to put you in the show. And now we have a whole new genre with the immersive theater concept. But I do believe it does all stem from that JC's, that charity haunt idea with the guided tours and the, walk in the room and the witches doing creepy stuff and making you stick your hand in the cauldron full of spaghetti and everything like that. It all comes from that. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because back then, the sets were so shit. They were like, they were probably like plywood with some black paint on them. And, the actors had to keep your attention off of looking at the sets because they were so bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I swear we all started that.
It's like, no, don't pay attention to the sets. Look at me. I'm entertaining you. I'm keeping you I'm keeping you in the story. I'm keeping your attention here. Now, talk to us about how did you end up writing the book? Like, what made you say, hey, look, I need to put this thing together. I want to get this out there.
Well, the book is 100%. Thanks to Barry and Kathy and Nina and Kelly, who took over the Midwest Haunters Convention and ran it up until Transworld bought it, and even a couple of years into that. They had asked me to do a presentation on magic, and I had to write lecture notes that went with that, just as a something for my own organizational abilities for that presentation. And then I decided then it was going to be a book. Unfortunately, a lot of things got in the way. Different things with life at the haunt, different projects. We started going from one set of shows in October to literally working year-round. And then I just got away. And then COVID hit, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I decided to just get it all on paper, as it were. And I was able to put it into a written format, and then eventually this past year into a publishable format.
So you had kind of compiled this over the years, done some seminars, and you basically had fill in some gaps.
Yes. I did Midwest. I worked Ironstock.
It's too bad that Ironstock is no longer around. I never got a chance to get there before before Ralph kind of wrapped things up there, which is too bad, but things, life moves on. The way things go.
Ironstock was its own amazing animal. Oh, it was incredible. It was just a bunch of people really, really into haunting on anything from I set up something in my front yard to I own a building. Just getting together and sharing what they enjoyed. It was a fun weekend.
Was that in Indiana or in Kentucky?
Yes. It was in Tell City, Indiana, which is on the Kentucky border.
Oh, it was in both?
It was, yeah, half the haunts were across the Ohio River in Kentucky when they would do excursions. But Tell City sits on this really weird place where it's in 2 time zones, and even the clocks on the wall in the hotel, they showed the different time zones for depending on what part of the state and what state you were in. It's technically Indiana, but the most southern you could be in Indiana is Tell City.
Talk to us about the book. Like what's in it? Like what can you give us without giving it away? Because obviously you're offering this thing for sale, but give us a teaser. Give us a taste.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking you through a history of Castle Blood as well as my experience at Castle Blood, through the magic that I wrote and performed, and then eventually started teaching other people to perform. So it starts out with Castle Blood's roots, what I started doing for them, which was line entertainment, and the close-up magic that went with working outside and in the line, to the point where I started to get involved with the script writing and the development of scenes and the building of scenes, when I started working, consulting, and performing magic within the walls of the haunt, and then going into when we had the television show and the changes of locations, and even now magic in the era of escape rooms and how we incorporate magic into an escape room environment, which I think is something that we do and nobody else to my knowledge is doing.
I know this is audio, so it's hard to, it's harder to do it via audio. Can you give us like a simple, I don't know, just some simple trick that you use? Maybe if it is not in the book, or maybe it's in the book. Just, I don't know, give us something that we could get a gist of like what else we would find in the book, kind of a thing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that has been a regular part of Castle Blood is the establishment of the medium or the gypsy type characters. And we perform seance type effects. So there's a lot that has to do with spirit contact and the spirits helping you along. And it's everything from the theatrical Hollywood ringing a bell to the using of tarot cards. This past tour we used rune stones, crystal balls, different devices like that. And a good way to look at it is the spirits are helping you, and they're helping you along your journey, and it's trying to basically letting you know that there's an outside force that's working with you. I'm not sure if that's too vague or not. If you would you like a specific example?
Yeah, give me something specific.
Okay, one of the things that I've been working on a lot, and I use this in many different ways, is I know you've had Ricky on for other episodes. Castle Blood has talismans, 3 things that you need to find during your time inside. And you have to do different things to get them, or you have to trade to get them. It's all kinds of different ways, but you have to end with these 3 things in your hand. And we have to find a way to make people know just outside of telling them, because that's boring. So one of the things that we had them do is we would ask the birthday of 3 different people, and we would deal cards down in one pile based on the number of their birth month. And then give that pile of cards to another person. They would deal them down into 3 separate piles, and on the top of each pile were the 3 talisman that they needed. For example, one year it was the finger, the face, and the fly, and when they turned it over, those were the 3 things. And this is how they knew what they were to find later on. Now, of course, it's always going to be the finger, the face, and the fly, because we're not changing our tour every time. Another year it was based upon the face of a clock. So it's things like that. And then I could take that same magic principle, and I can turn that into, instead of these are the things you need to find, these are the 3 things I was thinking of. Or this is what the spirits say you should have come up with, and it's finger faces flies written on a piece of paper that's been next to them the whole time. Yeah, those are the different ways I can spin that.
Okay. Now, one thing I picked up in the book is that you incorporate and you use the magic if you need like a speed bump. You need to slow down one group, trying to move a little bit too fast, and maybe they're going to bump into the group that's ahead of them. That you can use these as a way to kind of slow things down a little bit for that group.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things that I teach them. One is it's a classic in Magic called the Haunted Key. They can hold the key in their hands and it will turn on its own in their face-up palm. And then I can teach the actors that are working to put that into another person's palm and have them make the person that's holding the key turn it over. We do pendulum work where we teach people how to make a pendulum move back and forth in circles, and that's used to call the spirits or break a spell. I have a mini seance routine that can work literally anywhere where they hold their hands out and somebody ends up with a black mark on one of their palms to say that the spirits have shaken their hand. And these are all things that can happen anywhere at any time because the actors carry everything they need on their person when they do that.
So you have multiple actors or magicians within the haunt?
I have many people that have become magicians.
There's more people doing it than you.
Oh yes, I have many people who have become magicians. Most of them have come not having knowledge of magic. And they have had to learn it as a part of their stage piece, or they have come to me and they've said, okay, I need to do a speed bump piece. We will put people in specifically in some of these scenes to be speed bumps. And they learn 3 or 4 things. But it is about teaching them, and it's about them actually performing the magic. I do very little of the magic myself now. And we have, I want to say, in any given year, we have 3 or 4 key performers who have enough knowledge of things that we've done previously that they can just go and they can run with it. And, I can teach them the effect, and they're doing it for the season.
Do you perform anywhere outside of Castle Blood? Do you have are you for hire, or do you perform on stage?
I do. I'm still a magician for hire. I still do the same things that most other magicians do. I've done strolling and promotional events, corporate events, birthday parties, stuff like that. But I prefer to work with the haunt crowd, and I've done most of my focus on that in the recent years.
So you said you got started way early on. How did you end up getting into this? How did you learn some early tricks or what have you?
I have 2 cousins in Romulus, Michigan, who were they would come down 3 or 4 times a year, and we would go up and visit occasionally. And they were always playing pranks on me and showing me magic tricks. And they would create these bizarre characters, and they would hide in a closet, come out of the closet, and they would come out to me as this character that was, apparently living in my grandparents' house and things like that. So they got me into it. It scared me, and it also fascinated me at the same time. So as I was getting older, they started teaching me magic, and they started including me in on some of the gags and things like that. We would make a haunted house in the garage or in one of their bedrooms, and invite the aunts and uncles and the parents in to go through our haunted house. And that's the same thing. It was with magic. It was we would do magic shows. We would perform a magic show for our family, and I was told I would grow out of it. I never did.
And now you're writing books on it, so you've come a long way. And you haven't grown out of it. So how would you recommend that someone, obviously if someone doesn't have cousins that can teach them this and get them going, how would you recommend someone start learning?
I would say, well, right now with the internet, there's plenty of stuff people can find online as far as tutorials. Some good, some bad, but a lot of it's basic magic. The magic that I learned, most of it came from books. Some came from instructional videos. If you get involved in a community of magicians, and most cities, most areas have a population of magicians, and they meet regularly, and it's just like any other activity. When a bunch of people get together, if there's a bunch of people that perform card tricks, they're going to have decks of cards, and they're just going to sit and they're going to show each other card tricks. And that's how most of us learn, is we learn from other people, and we learn through those different avenues.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you can reach out and kind of get invited and get into these groups, they're all going to be sitting around showing off tricks, teaching you, allowing you to learn from them, and then next thing you know, maybe you'll be teaching them a few things down the road. But yeah, I never even thought about trying to find a group. I guess it would be like haunting. You go, hey, I want to find a group of haunters so I can learn how to build some props or pneumatics or do stuff. And I guess it's the same concept.
Absolutely. It's interesting though, because I was thinking about haunters as you were saying that. It's a little bit harder to find magicians that do things that I do on the spooky side. There's a lot of people that shy away from it, that won't perform magic with tarot cards, or they won't perform magic that is, as they would call it, not family friendly, or satanic, or whatever label they want to put on it. So
I got it.
I face the same challenges that many of our haunters face just by putting on an attraction, but I face it in magic as well. But there are pockets of people that do the strange stuff. And just like the haunters manage to find each other just about everywhere, magicians like me that do mentalism and what we call bizarre magic manage to find each other too. And I go to these events very much like the haunt conventions that are full of magicians that do nothing but strange magic. There's one in August in Baltimore, and there's one in Texas in September, and then there's one in Myrtle Beach in January. And I will be at 2 of those 3 this year.
Name those conventions in case anybody who's listening wants to go check it out.
Sure. The one in August is Poe's Magic Conference. It happens the week of August 22nd, the weekend. And that's in Baltimore, Maryland. The second one is Magistorum, and that is in Texas. And that is mid-September. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, unfortunately, but that's in Texas in September. And then the third is called the East Coast Spirit Sessions, and that is primarily for seance performers. And I'm lucky enough to have been included in with that and to have presented for them. And that is in Myrtle Beach, and that always happens Martin Luther King weekend. And it's wonderful because hotels are cheap in Myrtle Beach at that time of year. It's easy to find a place to eat, and we've got the hotel all to ourselves. So we could be as crazy or goofy as we want, and nobody's there to tell us to stay in our corner.
If you were to pick 1 or 2 books that you think people, whether they're super old school or not, that you would recommend that people pick up they would be like must reads if you want to kind of get into this, what would they be?
Outside of my book?
Okay, outside of your book, of course.
Okay, the first book that I would recommend in terms of spooky magic is the Book of Haunted Magic by Rick Ma. And his story is an amazing story in and of itself, as far as him as a haunter and as a magician. But it is a very, very packed book, full of different effects that can be incorporated anywhere within or without a haunt itself. So that's one that I would pick up. If you are into illusions, there is a book called Haunted Illusions by Paul Osborne, and it's all the big stage stuff. That is the people being sawed in half and left on the table, and the headless body, and the bodiless head. All those different things that you can build that you've seen at sideshows or you've seen just walking by. So Haunted Illusions would be another one. And then as a basic book of magic, As ridiculous as this may sound, the Klutz Book of Magic, by the same people that brought you Juggling for the Complete Klutz and all of those books from Klutz Press, it is a wonderfully written book that will walk you through magic, and you will learn a whole bunch of basic magic tricks, and it will help with both your understanding and your confidence to go and do other things.
That's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had Juggling for the Complete Klutz, and it came with like 3 little bean bags that you could juggle that were part of, like, attached to the book. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know. I had it for years, and I don't know where it disappeared to. For some reason, I never got rid of it. I never learned it. I never used it, but I had it for many years. And you mentioned that, I'm like, holy shit! I remember having the Juggling for the Complete Klutz book around. Now, as far as the Talismans and Thaumaturgy, what can people get out of your book? What's in it? Why do they need to get it, especially if they're interested in adding magic into their haunt?
Well, the first chapter of the book is nothing but things that you could perform at a party or walking around in the line in front of the haunted attraction, or just for friends. They were the things that I personally used, and they were the things that most of them, all but one, you can carry everything in your pocket. And the one that you can't carry in your pocket involves making a bloody handprint, and the setup is easy. It's just, you have to carry around the stuff for it. And yeah, that's a good starting point for anybody, because it builds a character. It helps build a character anyway. And then the magic that we incorporate into our scenes, which are all the later chapters, are things that could be used if you're writing a seance, if you're doing a short story, if you're doing a presentation at Halloween, if you don't want to do a full-blown haunted house. These 2 or 3 things could go as far as vignettes that could happen on your porch or in your garage or whatever. So these are the things I think people can take away. They can all be built upon. There's nothing in there that's not doable. There's nothing in there that hasn't been performed. And, it all, depending upon how you write your script, it all can relate to your characters. It's not tied into specific genres or anything like that.
Anything else you want to plug about the book?
I really like what Ricky had said about it. In terms, obviously, all this stuff is, or everything in the book are things that Ricky Dick, the owner of the Atraction, has been a part of, and he's reviewed, and we've put into the Atraction. But the way he describes the book is part memoir, part how-to manual. So if you're interested in the history of the Atraction, you're getting a partial history of the Atraction. If you're interested in learning magic, just for magic's sake, it's in there. If you want to know how I write magic for themed entertainment, and how I incorporate magic into themed entertainment, that's all there as well.
When I was reading through, I didn't get through the entire book, but as I was reading through it, and it was only because I went to the Midwest Haunters Convention of all these. I should have brought it with me. I should have just downloaded it and brought it with me and read it on the plane. But anyway, as I was reading through it, one thing that kind of popped into my head was I remember hearing, I forget who I heard say this, but they were talking about when they were talking to their actors. This is like a haunt owner or a scare actor trainer talking to their new scare actors, their crew, and they asked them the question, what is your job at the haunt? And typically they reply, to scare people. And the answer is wrong. The answer is to entertain. So you get a good start. If you get a good startle, or if you get a laugh, or if you can keep them, just keep them entertained by using magic, whatever you do, all of that's right. It's just you're trying to entertain them. They came for an experience. You don't need to make them pee their pants to have a good time, which is, I think, where this kind of works right into that, where, if you can add something else to it just to entertain them, you give them something that they're not getting out at some other haunt, you can add a lot to your to your show. So awesome. And it was great. It was great. As I was I was getting through a lot of the history. Now I've talked to Ricky twice before. I've interviewed him twice. So I've got some history on it, but there was a lot more that we'd never covered in our conversation that's in this book, which was kind of fascinating as I was reading through it. So it's very cool. Where can people pick up a copy?
Before I get into that, there's two things I'd like to add to what you said, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. I'm also operations manager for the Atraction. And the very first question I ask people when I see them coming outside of our haunt, that when they hit that exit curtain, and we're one of the few places where they're not being chased by power tools, and everybody knows that. When I come out, usually I can tell because they're talking to each other. Many times they're laughing. But the first question I will ask is, did you have fun? Never how scary was it? Or did you get scared? Any of that. It's did you have fun? So I really appreciate what you just said. The other thing, and I know Ricky talks about this too, everything that we use is a tool. Castle Blood is not about magic tricks. Castle Blood is not about costumes, even though Ricky is a professional costumer. Castle Blood is about the synthesis of all that. The actors, the costumes, the props, the magic that we put into it, the escape room games. There is no one component that's more important than the rest except for the actors, because the actors make it all work. But beyond that, it's, these are all things that you can use, and we try to not overuse it, and we try to make sure that there's a balance and that it's about having fun. It's not about wowing them or scaring them or anything like that. It's about helping them have fun.
So wait a minute, Christopher. Are you telling me that chainsaws are not the only thing that's important in a haunted attraction? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. Yeah, short answer, yes. I think it's one of those things. It's a trope that we use, and it's an easy one because it's a startle scare that everybody is going to run and jump. That you hit me with a startle scare, I'm going to jump, and you're gonna watch me probably drop a couple of expletives. But it's a tool. A chainsaw is a tool, and there are variations of that. Ricky talks about, I think he talked about with you, the leaf blower that he used with the flames on the end that they used at one haunt. Anything that can get them out and get them jumping and laughing at each other at another time, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just don't rely on one tool. You should have multiple tools in the toolbox. That's really what it comes down to. Have a whole plethora of tools to in your box, so to speak.
Either that or 5 chainsaws, one or the other.
More cowbell, like more chainsaws. You know what we need? More chainsaws, more cowbell. Anyway, where can people buy this thing? Where can they get their hands on this thing and start incorporating magic into their haunt?
I would suggest buying on Amazon because that's going to be the easiest way to get it to you, the cheapest. Beyond going to Amazon, and you can look it up by author or by title, you can get directly from me. And if you're buying directly from me, then you can ask me the fun questions like, would you like to, can you please desecrate my book by writing in it and stuff like that. But also I cover the taxes, and I will cover the shipping if you order from me. I also have it available through the Castle Blood gift shop. Mm-hmm. It will always be available through there. And we're trying to get it into some magic shops and some other places as well, but that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, how do they buy it from you? Do you have your own website?
You can buy it from me through Christopher.Handa at Verizon.net, which is also my PayPal, which PayPal's preferred just because that protects both you and me, or pay through Venmo. I am available on Facebook. I do have a website, spookymagic.com, but that is not updated at this point, so I'm reluctant to send someone there just yet to order.
So people can email you directly pay you through Venmo or PayPal. They can pick it up through the Castle Blood gift shop, or they can grab it on Amazon. But they don't get. If they get it on Amazon, they don't get this. They don't get you to. They can't get you to desecrate the book before you send it off, free of tax and shipping.
Correct. If somebody absolutely needs to have a signed copy, order it through me. The only place where that's a major headache is international, and the book has sold internationally. I'm very happy to say that.
All right, so Christopher, give them the name of the book one more time.
The name of the book is Talismans and Thaumaturgy: Stories and Sorcery at Castle Blood.
Christopher, thank you for using your crystal ball and getting yourself onto the Hauntcast bone phone. Somehow the ball connected to the bone phone, and somehow you made that work. I'm not sure how, but I know it's just the magic.
Neither
it's
am
all
I.
The magic. All right, and thanks for joining us here. And if you want to pick up a copy of the book, I will have links down in the description.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Please like, subscribe, comment, give us a 5-star review, share with friends, and buy us a beer if you see us out in the wild. Follow us on Instagram at huntcast.podcast for show updates, as well as more pictures and video content. Join the Huntcast Hunt Club on Discord, with live streams bi-weekly. Also, like and follow our Huntcast Facebook page. Listen to the entire back catalog of our audio podcasts, available on all podcast platforms, with over 550 segments now available. Until next time, stay scary.
You can stop this.
There is no stopping it, Daddy.